So John, I wanted to ask you, over the course of the last couple of years when brand safety has really come into focus, how much progress has been made? How do you measure the sort of the safety, the reliability, the cleanliness, if you will, of the digital ecosystem?
Yeah, so when we first had this conversation was almost exactly 2 years ago. It was February at the IAB conference. Marc Pritchard stood up and talked about the crappy digital supply chain, and that sent a hurricane through the industry when the custodian of the world's biggest brand talks like that. And in fact, a couple of weeks after that, there was that seminal New York Times, I beg your pardon, the London Times article, where they dedicated 5 pages to an expose on how big brands fund terror, and that was the adjacency issue with YouTube, and that really set brand safety alight. Many big brands were worried about their reputational damage that could be done by the adjacency issue, the contextual brand safety issue, and it became a huge focus for us. We built a practice, GroupM built a practice where we have 2 specialists in the Americas, 2 specialists in APAC, 1 in China, and 2 in Europe, specifically around that, and they really are very busy, and it continues to this day. But the great news is that where we've moved to from February 2017 to now is that it's a much more measured and safe environment for brands. And when we talk about safe environment for brands, obviously most people think about contextual brand safety, but we also think about the increase in viewability, the reduction in fraud, the reduction in piracy, pirate content, and so it's just overall quality in the digital supply chain has increased dramatically. And so we're seeing a situation where brand safety has become table stakes for a publisher. I think most publishers realize that unless they deliver brand safe quality impressions to a marketer, they're not going to get onto the schedule at all. And what we've seen is that brand safety has moved upstream to the publishers, where publishers are using Moat, DoubleVerify, Whiteops, integral ad science, so that the inventory that we get, or by the time we get the inventory, it's already been, if you like, scrubbed. It's already quality impressions. Doesn't mean that we won't continue to measure brand safety. Just because a city's safe, you don't fire the police force. But it just means that by the time we've got the inventory, it's so much safer than it was before. Some will say, and I think this has been talked about on BTV, that we are swung too much to the conservative side, where we've been limiting advertising on news, for instance, because people are worried about controversy or bad news. But I do think that overall, it's a much cleaner digital supply chain. And where we're finding the discussion moving to now is that now that publishers are delivering brand safe impressions, we're starting to measure the effect of quality on effectiveness. So we know we're getting viewable ads that are viewed by a human in the right demographic in a contextually safe environment. We're saying, what does that mean? And we're calling that quality. What does that mean for effectiveness? And we've got quite a lot of evidence, sort of empirical research evidence, showing that once you deliver those quality impressions, the ads work better. And it doesn't take a genius to understand that if an ad can be seen more and it has less fraud, it's going to work better. But it does justify a premium, or certainly not a declining price, which is what's been happening over the last few years, which is unsustainable. But if we can prove that quality ads work better, we can at least stop the slide towards lower prices, because in that sort of quagmire of lower pricing lies a lot of the brand safety problems that we've been experiencing.
But there's still bad players out there. I'm sure there's problems that exist. It's not, I mean, things are better, but what problems need to be solved still?
I think that there's potentially a ton of that stuff. We get told all the time about how many billions of dollars worth of fraudulent inventory there is out there. We understand that. We just don't want to buy it. And so I think where it's kind of misunderstood is just because there's God knows how many billions of dollars worth of fraudulent impressions, it doesn't mean that our clients are buying that. We're trying very hard for our clients to stay away from that. And we think that the quality publishers, many of the IAB members, most of the IAB members are premium quality publishers, are delivering quality impressions, and we see very little fraud. We see high viewability. We see we're able to control through placing a JavaScript tag on our advertising on their properties. We're able to control where our ads land up. In those kind of preferred marketplaces, we see that the issue isn't there. The issue is elsewhere. And I don't want to blame programmatic, because programmatic is a way of buying. But if you buy programmatic indiscriminately and pursue lower pricing at all costs, that's I think when serious problems occur. And we found that where you buy programmatic responsibly and sensibly, using all of the brand safety mitigation measures that we've put in place, programmatic can be extremely brand safe. But of course, if you just pursue lower prices, that's when some of the problems that you talk about occur.